eye view. We've been gone a couple weeks, and so we have a lot to talk about. We've had some crazy weather here in Hendersonville, so if you're around this area, just be safe and make sure you protect yourself. And that being started, I want to talk a little bit about Pocono and the crash that we had a couple weeks ago with Bubba Wallace. So let's go to the video here real quick. And I actually have the wrong video up right this second, so I'm going to go back to it. Hold on 1 minute. So this is going to show,
this big three just to continue.
They're going to go back to Bubba here in a second.
We saw Kyle Busch in the lead late. Kevin Harvick moved him with 7 laps to go. He went on to win that race.
Oh, into the wall to 43. Bubba Wallace slams the wall.
I'm going to zoom this ahead just a little bit right now because we want to show how it happened. He had a brake explode on his car, and they go about 200 and some mile an hour down into this corner. Let's see if we actually have the wreck. I don't know if we do or not, actually. We don't have anything other than that part. So
passenger side door into the wall.
We'll stop this for now, but if you look at that car, you notice the window net is still up. That is the sign for the drivers to let the safety personnel understand that they're okay or not. Well, after a violent hit like that, and without these safer barriers, you can see them back here. This was all introduced in 2001 after we lost the great Dale Sr. These safer barriers, and they're actually steel and aluminum with styrofoam in the middle. And that allows, even though this car took an extreme hit, it would, because it was going over 200 miles an hour, lost its brake and slid up into the wall. It cushions the blow where the body doesn't have to quite as much. And, you know, I saw an article yesterday about Bubba, and he said, you know, you contemplate, am I going to get hurt? Am I going to live through this or whatever? And thankfully he did, and he maybe hurt his ankle just a little bit. And so we're all thankful for that. As somebody who gets in this sport and somebody who participates in it every week, it doesn't matter who you work for, you always want these drivers, crew members to be safe. And we saw some stuff at Watkins Glen this last week about crew members getting hit by cars, and again, they were safe, but still, you always want, no matter who it is, if you know them or you don't know them, you want them to be safe. So last time I left you, we talked just a little bit about the spotters and the different style tracks that we were going to. Pocono, that's where we were at a couple weeks ago. 2.5 mile, the drivers go the farthest away from us. The hardest to see for us as spotters, have to use binoculars for a big part of the time, and you're still not totally clear of what you're going to see. Then we went to Watkins Glen, and we're going to show a little video here in just a second, but Watkins Glen, they go out of sight. The lap time's about 1:15. We call it 75 or 15. But they go out of sight for probably 40-45 seconds of that from where I am. When we go to this video, we're going to go to Chase Elliott's last lap. It's where I pick him up. Even though it's not as close as you're going to see him on the TV, I pick him up when he comes into what we call turn 10, turn 11, and 1. And then he goes out of my sight. And I'll show you, I'll stop the video in each location and tell you when the other spotter picks him up, and then kind of when he's on his own. So let's go to the video here, Dean, and we'll talk a little bit about Watkins Glen here. So this is Chase Elliott right here. This is Martin Truex Jr. coming into turn 10. At this point, I'm about, probably 3/4 of a mile away, and there's trees in the vision that I can't see him. You can actually see the shadow of the trees at Martin Truex. So at this point, I couldn't see him, but I probably could see Chase. But they're getting ready to go into turn 10, and then 11, and then start the last lap. And I'll stop this periodically and talk just a little bit about us spotters of what we have to do. So let's go right here.
Forcing Truex Jr. into a mistake. You're right. Now the spotter's got to be telling him, hey, you got 5 car lengths. But he cannot take it too easy. You cannot relax. You still have to attack.
And now he's going into turn 11. And you hear Jeff Burton talking in the background.
So you don't make a mistake.
And coming out onto the front stretch. The white flag in the air. 1 lap to go.
Now he's right below me at this point.
Turns. He just needs to.
He's right. They're right below us going down into turn 1. So this is starting to go away to my left-hand side. Chase is going to overdrive this corner just a little bit, let Martin catch back up. Eventually Martin runs out of gas and it's okay anyway, but When they go into turn 1 here, I can still have a pretty good angle on them, even though they're going down a hill and away from me. But I'll stop and show you when I lose him.
To do 7 turns perfectly at Watkins Glen to grab his first career win. He goes wide through turn 1. The 78 coming up, closing the gap.
Well, we don't know why our video stopped there.
Fans jumping up and down, yelling, screaming, losing their minds here at Watkins Glen. Can Elliott hang on? He's back
Okay,
to
so let's stop here.
Truex.
Right now he's going into the S's, and I'm sorry we lost the actual feed right there. I think it's because the storm weather in this area. I'm going to see if I can back up just a little bit here and catch what we were talking about there. Okay, so right here is where we lost you. Let's see if it'll go live again.
To grab his first career
And now you'll see
win.
he goes a little wide. Okay, so right here I lose him. He goes out of my sight. We have a second spotter that this is called the S's. We have a second spotter on a stand into the S's, and we use Donnie Wingo. He's the competition director at Front Row Motorsports, and he picks him up and helps him from here. So right now I'm just watching it on TV like the fans are. I don't really know what's going on. Although I don't spot for either one of these cars, of course.
As they leave the S's, one final time. Almost getting up the lead in turn 1, but he's not.
At this point, the guy in the S's loses him. They're coming over to the bus stop. Our third guy is going to be located back up here. I don't think you'll see the stand, but when they make the hard right, he's on a stand right here, and he gets to see him go through the bus stop.
I've got another comfortable lead as he breaks.
So this is the bus stop. Our guy's right here got the same view. Right now, Martin runs out of gas.
Chase Elliott, a cleaner corner. Now it's about 4 car lengths there through the carousel. Chase Elliott almost.
And right there, the third spotter loses him. So from this point to where I pick him up, he's on his own. So if anything happens, it's pretty much a straightaway. We call it the carousel. It's pretty much a straightaway. But from this point to where I pick him back up, all of this straightaway right here, he's on his own. And then again, you can see the trees that I have to look through. Right there is where we started the video. So I know that's probably a little confusing to us explaining it and you hearing Burton and them, but that's kind of the way it is. And so that's how we end up with doing this with 3 spotters. Some of them actually use 4, you know, but the drivers are pretty good. They have a lot of mirrors and they do their part. So it was a great race. It was really good to see Chase Elliott win. His dad announced he's going to race in a couple weeks on a road course in the Xfinity Series. That's great for our sport. Chase Elliott, you know, I got to give kudos, if that's a right word or not, to James Finch. I worked for James Finch at Phoenix Racing. We won Brad Keselowski's first Cup race. But James went to Rick and said, you got to take this Elliott kid. He's good. Back when he was driving Legends cars and late models. And he said, Rick, you got to give him a chance. And Rick did, and he won championship in the Xfinity, probably Nationwide Series at the time. And now he's won a race in the Cup Series. So I think this is just one of many more to come. He's come very close. Even at Michigan coming up, him and Larson's, I think, rubbed fenders last year or the year before. So I think he's going to win a lot of races. So we got done with Watkins Glen, a road course. You use multiple spotters. The next we go to Michigan. We'll go to video on Michigan here real quick. I know we're probably going to be running a little bit long today, and I'm sorry about that. That's Bristol, so we'll get to that in a second. So this is Michigan. You use back to 1 spotter again. 2-mile track, fuel mile track. They try to save fuel. This thing usually ends on some type of fuel mileage strategy. It allows some of the guys in the back to have a little bit of a chance, but it still is really tough because these guys that are fast are really fast. And I want to go back to Watkins Glen, just say real quick, Michael McDowell, who I spot for, 4th in one practice, 9th in another practice, qualified 12th, made the final round. And we had one, the rear tire changer jumped over the wall too quick. And when he did, that caused us a penalty, put us in the back, and it's just so hard to make up track position. So sorry, I forgot that during the Watkins Glen. But we'll just watch a lap here of Michigan. Pretty easy track to spot per se. I mean, other than they run close to each other, but we can see the track really good. We use binoculars a little bit on the backstretch because they'll get 2 and 3 wide, but in the corners you can see them real well. and there's multiple grooves at this track. The fastest track we qualify on, the fastest track we race on, they go into the corner over 220 mile an hour, I think. I think the average pole speed will be close to 204, 205. So that's turn 1. Coming off of 2 now, you can see it's a pretty much, I don't know if he's happy or, I think he won 2 or 3 of these in a row. Oh, this is his final lap, so we got the final lap of this race too.
Kyle Larson got back here at 2:45 this morning after coming second in Knoxville. There is no second place here. Kyle Larson coming to the line with Truex chasing, will win his 3rd time in a row here in Michigan.
Yeah, good job, guys.
So that was last fall's race, actually, because actually Knoxville Nationals in Iowa start tonight. That's the Wing Sprint Law, or the Outlaw Cars, World of Outlaw Cars. Kyle's racing again. I think Casey Kane is. I know Stenhouse owns a car. I don't know if he's driving or not, but they start up in Iowa tonight racing those. Michigan, like I said, fuel mileage track, the spotter. More so, we just kind of tell the crew chief what the other cars are doing. We let the driver know what lane seems to be fast. So I have times up on top. I can see Jimmy Johnson or Kyle Larson's is running the 3rd lane, the 4th lane. Kind of this place, there's almost 5 lanes. On new tires, they'll kind of run the bottom more, and they'll move up as the tires go away. Tires just a little bit. So last for the video, we're going to go to Bristol here. Because I'm not going to be here the next couple of weeks. We're going to send some video in from each of the tracks, so please tune in to Barkdoll's Bird's Eye View, because I'm going to send you something from Michigan this week and then Bristol next week. Next week, Wednesday, is my friend and Hendersonville's own Andy Petrie's birthday, so I'm going to go celebrate his birthday with him next Wednesday. And then the next Wednesday is our last week off. And, you know, you think we'd stay home, but actually going to go to Alaska, do a little salmon fishing. So looking forward to that. So this is Bristol. Now, this is, Rusty Wallace used to explain it as a fighter jet in a gymnasium. This is kind of like racing on steroids right here. You got to pay attention the whole time. I mean, every single lap, everything, single corner, your eyes are going every direction. It's a night race. It's an awesome race. If you don't have a ticket, try to get one. It's worth coming to. We'll just show a couple real quick laps here. This is a restart that we saw. We're above them. This is actually kind of the angle I have, except a lot higher. This place holds 160,000 people, and we stand above them, and it's a pretty awesome view to watch this race. I'm a huge fan. I like watching it, but we'll watch this real quick here. So they're down into turn 1. They're right below us there. As they turn here, they both have to get to the top. That's what makes this a track that there's a lot of action.
Eric Jones used a lot of good judgment right there. He didn't cut down in front of the 48.
So you can see that's already a lap. You know, when they qualify, it's in the 14, 15 second range. A full lap with 40 cars on the track.
Can run up high. Car looks a lot better with that high line.
Oh, you got to be careful getting that high.
Whoa, baby.
Now you said Jimmy Johnson. Where did he come from? Johnson worked his way up.
I'm going to stop that for a second because actually you can see where we are right there. If I can go back here. Might have went too far now.
One Booth, you got me?
Yeah, I went too far, excuse me.
Paul Menard.
Kyle Busch has got his car now where he can run up high.
Okay, right here. I'll be able to stop it here and show
you. You got to be careful getting that high.
Whoa, baby.
Okay, so these little blobs right up here, that's all of us spotters. And that's about where I stand. So that's probably me right there, Mom. I know you're watching. But that's where all the spotters stand. We kind of spread out a little bit, but we're all kind of in turn 1. So you can kind of see the angle we have. It's a tough place. I mean, like I said, you just got to be on your toes all the time. And I really enjoy it, though. Plus, you get to sleep in your own bed. It's only about an hour and 15 minutes away from my house. So I drive back and forth rather than go up there and stay the 2 days that we're up there. So we'll watch just a little bit more of that.
Jimmy Johnson, where did he come from? Johnson worked his way up.
You can see how they lean their heads. I mean, they're always in the turn here, basically. Just for a split second are they out of it.
And I heard something out of Jimmy Johnson earlier today on race day
here on Fox and FS1. He talked about the confidence.
So, Jimmy Johnson, so he hasn't won this year, 7-time champion. Chase Elliott's first one to bring it home, only the second Chevy to win this year. Austin Dillon won the Daytona 500. I did notice at Watkins Glen it was the first 7 were Chevys and Toyotas. Ford, Kurt Busch was 9th, and Kevin Harvick was 10th for that free bloomin' onion I know y'all go get on Mondays if you can at the Outback Steakhouse. I sound like a commercial today, don't I? Should have patches on my shoulders. But listen, appreciate y'all. I know I went a little long today, talked a lot about, rattled on about certain things. Just try to give you some information. We'll send in some videos from the different tracks that I'm at. Maybe talk to a couple different spotters that are with other drivers. If you have any questions, send them to Dean Hensley. He's sports editor here at Blue Ridge Now and the Times News. Appreciate what they do for me, and I enjoy talking to you. So have a great week, and we'll talk to you in a couple weeks.